So how'd you get into comedy?
I got into comedy by, I've always had an interest in comedy. I've always had, growing up I was always really interested in Richard Pryor and Bill Cosby and George Carlin. I grew up loving stand-up comedy and following stand-up comedy, and then my brother introduced me to a writer, David Sedaris, who writes personal narratives, stories of his life, and they're brilliant. I love them. And I was influenced by him to start trying to write my own kind of comedy essays that were comedy on purpose. And through a friend of a friend, I got interested in trying some of the essays out on stage, and I got hooked, addicted from the first time. So that's how I got into it.
So why'd you get into it? What's the appeal of it? Why do you do it?
Oh man, it's addicting, the attention, I guess, that people give you, and the feeling when people laugh, and that you've created that through, you know, hours of sketching or writing or whatever it takes to come up with the ideas that you come up with, and then just the adrenaline rush and the rise of hoping for it, and the engaging with the audience, I think, too, because you sort of, even if it's just 5 minutes, you sort of build a relationship with the audience, and I love that about stand-up comedy in particular, because instead of just entertaining and keeping it all on the stage, you have to take it out and put it in their laps and kind of deliver them the package, and you sort of build a relationship with the audience in that respect, and that's what I love about it.
Make sure we don't get run over here. So do you have a philosophy of comedy?
I do, I think. I try to. I think my philosophy, I guess, is to try to create something new and interesting, even though it's impossible, you know, because everything's been done. But I guess my philosophy is to create something that involves thinking, involves some level of sort of joining into the sort of roller coaster ride that I try to create on stage, where usually people won't meet you anywhere. You kind of have to go to them and then bring them. But that's my philosophy, I guess, would be to sort of make people think and reach people where they are, and then bring them on a sort of ride, I guess, you know, for lack of a better word, that I try to create with the stories and ideas and observations, I guess.
So your thoughts? Any thoughts on the Richmond comedy scene?
I love it. I think it's fascinating. Seeing it especially over the past year, I think there's a burgeoning talent in Richmond that is just coming to the surface. I've heard a lot from running into people about how comedy had sort of died in Richmond when I got into comedy, and that there used to be a bigger scene, and I've heard that there was a lot going on before, but it sort of died away. But I think that there have been people like the 955 Club who kept that current going, kept the wave alive enough for what I see now as a sort of burgeoning talent that's coming out of Richmond. A lot of really clever writers and really clever ideas, I think, are coming out of Richmond now.
You didn't have to get the shout out just because I walked out here too. I was like, I'm here. Oh shit, Ray's here. 955.
Oh no,
the obligatory flag. Have you got time?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, you've been doing the. That's what I meant, was like, because I hear that, I've heard that since I started, that comedy died in Richmond.
Oh.
Like people, I run into people, I'm like, oh, you know, they'll ask me about if I do it at the Funny Bone or wherever, and they always tell me that, well, comedy. I heard that there was a club then, like, you know, it was great, but I think it's kind of died over the years. But I think, you know,
10 years. And
yeah, like you're the only one that I've met that's like made it through what I've heard has been
the drought.
A drought. And I think now what I see is sort of a burgeoning.
Yeah, I'll agree with you.
Of writers.
Am I sitting?